October 27th, 2025, I was just doing a check on my reversal scanner. That's where we have high relative volume, but small-ish moves relative to the amount of volume. I found a couple interesting stocks. One was Bed Bath & Beyond, actually. They just had earnings, but didn't move much. One of these days, I want to start a Beyond-only account with Bed Bath & Beyond and Beyond Meat and just see if it goes to zero or 100 times. I'm not sure which way it's going to go after 5 years. BBAI piqued my interest, though. I've traded this before. I try to catch the uptrends, and then I sell once it breaks the uptrend line, usually. And so I was just doing a little bit of analysis here. Let me clean up the chart. Actually, let's start with the market as a whole. So the reason why I'm looking at these more smaller speculative plays is because I've had a bit of euphoria on SPY and QQQ. I mean, sure, it's good that we're getting rate cuts. CPI came back decent, but I don't think it's worth all these gaps that we're getting. I mean, we had a huge gap up and then another gap up on SPY. And we see volume imbalances, so we see small candles. US 500 doesn't have accurate volume, but on SPY you have small candles that are red with high volume, big green candles with low volume, so there's imbalances. And then we just hit this upper resistance line that started way back here in July. And so I think we're going to see a bit of a retrace, so I'm not ready yet to get into any big tech stock plays. I think I'll wait till maybe even after earnings. I might be missing some big moves up, but you know what? That's fine. That's not my strategy. So that's why I'm looking for more of these speculative plays like BBAI. So let's remove some of these lines here. We got a downward trend that started. Let's go back here, 12 days ago or so, and now we just broke out of that downtrend. So that's not necessarily enough for us to get confident in a trade. We got to make sure it's a solid stock. And I know from talking with ChatGPT though, and just generally following the news on this company that they're doing some really cool stuff. They did have some recent revenue scares. They had to cut their revenue outlook significantly recently, but they just scored a U.S. Army contract. They're partnering with Palantir, like they're working with their software is apparently used at the Chicago International Airport. They have had some offerings in the past, which is not great, but they seem to get bought up quickly. And then here's their Palantir Big Bear partnership article. They don't have the date on this article, but I believe it was just like 2 to 3 weeks ago. It was pretty recent. And I love Palantir. They started off very, I mean, they started from nothing essentially, and now they're at 100 plus. And just look at how their chart went. And so my goal is to try and find a stock that I could buy back here and watch it just go to infinity and beyond. So I'm not sure yet if this is a long-term hold or a mid-term hold, but what I am going to say is that as long as it's staying above this trend line, so I drew a line, trend line from here all the way up here, bouncing off this point that was just made. So we don't have a full trend line yet, just 2 points. We need one more point to really confirm it. This point right here is exciting. 4.5 million shares in 4 hours, bouncing off this support line. The previous bar was 2 million shares. So that tells me that there's a lot of buying interest once it hits this support line, once it hits this trend line area. And that corresponds in the RSA with an oversold status. So that makes sense. That's why it ended up creating the next point in the trend line. So with the breakout, what's my plan? I have two options here. If it breaks downwards and retests the trend line, I have an alert to catch that, and I'll buy leaps and sell some cash secured puts. Or if it keeps going up, I'll do the same. Stop loss around 630. Earnings are coming up, so I got that in the back of my mind too. Real quick, the GEX, we want to look at this. So $7 is a hot spot. $8. Basically avoided the 50 cents and don't go too high is what it looks like. So I'll probably go in with a $7 cash secured put, probably expiring November 21st or even December. I'll probably go November. That's right after earnings. I'll see what the premium is like, and then I'll decide. I might even do October 31st. That ends this Friday, but if the premium's good, I'll go for it. I can always wheel it and sell covered calls afterwards. And then I'm going to go in with leaps, probably $8 for March or January. To be decided what based on what the premium is and what I'm feeling like in the morning, but that's my plan for BBAI. Let's see what tomorrow brings us.